Hey everyone, this is Tiffany with Borderland Bosses, and today we have somebody very special in the building. He is a veteran, an entrepreneur, and also a father, and he's also making big moves here in El Paso. He is the president of Combat Fighting Championship,
Yes.
Mr. Roland Rios.
Hi, Tiffany. Thank you for having me.
Hi, how are you doing
You
today?
make me feel important.
No, I mean you should feel important. That's why I was
Thank
like, I
you.
don't want to get the name wrong because CFC, is going to be something very big here in El Paso, which is already starting. So before we kind of go into that, Roland, I kind of want to get to know you and kind of let the audience get to know you a little bit more. So who is Roland Rios?
So, like, kind of like you mentioned, and it's kind of like I guess on my bio on Instagram, I have that I'm a father because I think like that's kind of like my main role in life. I'm a leader because I like to like normally lead whatever, like whether it will be like like in my household and in my workplace, or like in the company or whatever is it that I'm doing. I like to take a leading position when it's needed, and when it's a good fit. And then I consider myself a founder as well because I typically, I've only had one job in my life, which was with the United States Air Force. And other than that, I've been starting businesses ever since. Actually, like my first business started when I was still on active duty. And my last one there is it's a warrior because I feel like like I started training martial arts about 2-3 years ago, and I fell in love with it. But then I feel like more than just like being able to fight, like I feel like that martial art training gave me or and strengthened a mentality that I already had. I think just from growing up, of being like always being willing to fight back. And I know it might sound like negative fighting, but it's just like I think winners are people that lost a bunch of times and never gave up. Like whereas like like people that just give up, like you don't know like what's ahead of that loss. Maybe I mean I failed so many times, like at whether it'll be businesses and in life and like different situations, but I just keep going forward. So like that I kind of define as being a warrior.
No, that's really good. And you know what? And going back to that, being a veteran, do you feel that kind of like shaped your outlook in life when you served in the Air Force, or where it got you to where you're at today?
Absolutely,
And
yes.
first of
Like
all, thank you for your service.
appreciate that.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
So yes, definitely. I got myself into the military because one, I feel like it was always meant to be. Like I remember like early on, and when I was like 6, I would always play with like airplanes and stuff like that, and I always liked like this war movies and all that kind of stuff. But then I started my working life very early, like, before like any of like, official job. I was working like a Little Caesars, Walmart, and all that because my parents had to go back to Mexico, and I was 16, and I already had the responsibility to, like pretty much like sustain my own household
Okay.
with an older sister. She was 19 at the time, and then we had a younger sister, 13 at the time. So I pretty much had to work like as close as possible to full time while still attending high school. And it got crazy, like it was difficult to sustain a household being that young, like, and just with a part-time still going to school. So I kind of started prioritizing right after high school. I started prioritizing work over college, which I was going to community college, but then I wouldn't wake up on time, and I was like, hey, you know what, I need a little bit of discipline because I've always been pretty good with school because
Yes,
I would ace
I
my
agree.
tests, but like I would probably like sometimes I would like teachers or professors will fail me because I wasn't either coming in on time or I wasn't showing up enough.
Okay.
So I kind of made the decision to put myself in a place that was gonna shape that discipline for me.
And more structured and kind
Yes,
of.
and give me that structure. So I decided to enlist, which it's definitely been like one of the best decisions in my life because not only that discipline that I feel like I already had what it taked, but like I needed somebody to give me the structure.
Make it more polished and,
Correct.
yeah, put you on your way and
Yeah.
set that straight.
And I feel like honestly, like what that also gave me is the sense of service. Um, Ever since the military, anything that I do, I like to pair it with a sense of service or like giving back to the community, and serving something bigger than the business or myself. So I think that that has always helped me, like come up on top on anything I do, because I feel like when you have a bigger purpose than just making money or
Yeah.
being successful, I think that automatically comes with the with the territory.
Because you want to serve, help others, and it sounds like you really want to give back to the community, because like you mentioned that your family was in Mexico. Do your parents still live out there in
Yeah,
Mexico?
they still live out there.
They still live out there?
Yes.
And so were you born here in El Paso?
I was actually born in Dallas.
Okay.
But I traveled to Mexico City as a 2-year-old, and kind of grew up in Mexico City. Moved to another like smaller town called Pisaco in Tlaxcala, which is like a small, super small, the tiniest state in Mexico. And then when I was 10, we moved to Juarez, so right
Okay.
across the border.
Yeah.
And then when I was 13, 14, that's when we finally came back to the States. And I consider El Paso home because I've been
Yes.
here since. I did leave for a little bit for military training, and I got stationed in Holloman Air Force Base, which is about 90 minutes from here. But even when I was stationed there, like after a couple months, I moved back here, and I was doing the commute every day.
No, that's really good. And in regards to that, because I know that the CFC is kind of something you're doing at this moment, but like I mentioned, you are an entrepreneur and you have other businesses. So you kind of want to tell us about the other businesses that you do besides CFC, because they're not, usually when you open up a business, they kind of align with the other, but these are 3 different types of businesses that you're running at the same
Yes.
time. And so how do you do it? Like 3 different businesses.
A
How do
lot
you
of it has
manage?
been by chance, and I think it's just like like I tell people that I'm not really skilled at something. Like I feel like a lot of people are either very artistic,
Mm-hmm.
they're like really into like cars or whatever. Like I don't really have like a passion like that, but I like building stuff. So like my first business actually started when I was still active duty. And I remember like before joining the military, to kind of supplement my income, I would flip cars. Like I would buy cars, but then um, it was really hard to find a repair shop that wasn't gonna charge a lot to repair it. And like the ones that would charge little, like they would have like a poor quality, or like they will have like a long wait. So I was like, I was kind of like doing my first form of like like market analysis, without any school. And I was like, well, it seems like that's a good business, like I mean,
Yeah.
there's there's a lot of people waiting for this kind of service, and it's kind of pricey. And at the time I thought it was like just undercutting, coming in with the cheapest price. So that was my first business. Like I started a repair shop. I learned a lot from it. I actually like grew that one a little bit too quickly,
Okay.
because my goal with that one was to be a preferred shop for an insurance company, and I kind of overlooked like the requirements. I was like, hey, I mean, they require you to have certain certifications, to have a bathroom, a lobby, having
Yes.
all of this, different requirements. But one of them was that you have to be in business for 5 years. I was like, well, if I'm able to attain all of it, I'm sure they will make an exemption.
Yeah.
So within 3 years, I had built all of that, and I was able to do that because I was working active duty, and I wasn't supplementing my living at all with any of that. Like everything was going back into the business,
Mm-hmm.
but then I had to sustain that operation, which was expensive to get to that point,
Yeah.
for another 2 years. And I was knocking on those doors, and they were like, nope, you got to make the time. And I was like, well, but I have everything else, like
Yeah, you have all the certifications.
and
Yeah.
I learned that like, from that experience, which I wouldn't necessarily call it a failure. I call it like, like a learning experience. But at that time I was like, okay, this business heavily requires me to do the sales. Otherwise, like I don't have, constant, business. So yeah, like I decided to shut it down at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then moved on to like do like construction work and different things, like that led me to do water treatment. So that's SIDA, like that's my other business that currently, because of CFC, it's a little bit on hold, where it's
Yes.
not moving. Like I do projects here and there, but like that's a water treatment company.
And what is that company called?
SIDA. So
Saida.
it's SEIDE. It stands for silk, because the base of the business was building a control valve that is going to revolutionize how water treatment, like softeners at residential applications,
Yes.
work. And it's like basically like solving an issue that has been uh, unsolved since like 2009 by the by the EPA and like by the Department of Energy.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to leverage technology to make water treatment more efficient at the residential level.
No, and that's really good because a lot of people are kind of opting more for that, correct? Like they want like water softeners at their home.
Yep.
Just because we have one and it helps us eliminate buying so many water bottles because, you know, we have the water treatment.
Yep. Yeah, that, and I mean, it helps with your skin, a lot of different things.
Yes.
Right? But like, you know what, like surprisingly, like that business I feel like has a lot more impact in the world than entertainment.
Yeah.
But I feel like this other business, CFC, has taken my priority, has taken over because people wanna, like, they wanna be entertained. You know, like,
and you guys just had a show recently, correct?
Yes, correct.
On the 24th, and it was a huge success.
Yes.
And can you, what was the turnout for that? How many people showed up for that event?
We had 3,506 attendees. We had 3,200 people join our live stream. And then we had about 2.5 million interactions within, you know, the 30 days, plus or minus 2 weeks of the event. And that's for our Instagram page only, which is, we only have 9,000 followers. So the ratio is amazing. You know, like we don't have a lot, but like they interact a lot.
With it.
Yes.
Because the event was coming up and it was really huge. And then you also have, sorry, going back on that note, but you also have another business besides the water treatment. You also have the Turo, correct?
So that one is more recent, but a while back, about 2 years ago, I actually started renting vehicles across the border. So that one's not tour, like that one is like another rental fleet that my parents again had to go back to Mexico, and my dad, you know, like he tried to start a business over there in construction. Construction is very different. You know, over here, if you're in construction, you're actually making good money. Over there, not really. And I knew that I had to create something that while he's still young enough to help me build it, it's going to help for his retirement, right? Because he has to start from scratch.
Yes.
When he went back. So we actually started renting vehicles for Uber drivers because over there, credit is not the same as here. So we get affordable vehicles to them on lease programs. And if they don't want to lease them, then they just rent them. And like they can have access to a vehicle that allows them to work on Uber. So when we expanded that from, you know, 7 vehicles to like now 35 vehicles.
That's impressive.
Yes. So like in a matter of about 2 years. So then I was like, oh, let me try that over here. You know, like, let me try that over here. Like I kind of started with like 3 about earlier the end of last year. And we're up to 11 vehicles right now here in El Paso, and it's been working pretty good, especially with BTS in town. Like,
oh my gosh, did you go to the concert?
I did not. No, I don't even really know like a song or anything, but I knew it was happening, so I ramped up all the pricing and like, you know, like not too much, but like, you know, I brought up like 25% and everything was booked.
That is really good. Yeah, I did go to the concert. It was amazing. I went on a Saturday, and yes, I was one of the ones that waited like 3 hours in line.
Wow.
And that was actually, I got there at 5. There was probably people that were waiting prior. But it was a great concert. And I love the fact that they came and just brought so many opportunities here for the people in El Paso and just the revenue. And, you know, they were already saying that they wanted to come back next year.
I heard that. And then the production looked amazing. Like that's like
it was
next level.
Amazing. Yeah, it was so good. And I had nosebleed seats and it didn't bother me because, I mean, just the atmosphere. Because I missed the Coldplay one. I told myself, like, I'm not going to miss this concert that's coming up. I never listened to BTS, but I know my daughter did. Yeah. And it was great. Like, I loved it. Like, it was amazing. And I hope that they do come back next year. And I hope we are able to refund the benefits of it again. Yes. And then Karol G as well coming in September. Yeah. And then Usher and Chris Brown. I was very sad about Post Malone. I had tickets for that one too. I didn't expect for it to get canceled. That one.
Yeah. No, big shout out to Jorge Vasquez out there at UTEP. Because he's putting amazing concerts together.
Oh, really? Yeah, yes. That's really good. And I don't think they get enough credit.
No.
They don't get enough credit. You know, people sat out the lines, and I think they were just looking at the negativity on that. But they opened up an hour late, and we all got to, I mean, I got to see the show. I got in at 8:20, but it was good.
There's a lot that goes, like, I have a soft spot for that.
Yes, well, you know, you got to do events.
Yes, and I'm only hosting like 3,500 people, so like, it's yeah, I can only imagine, you know.
And you know, and it was amazing that BTS picked us.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, they could have been anywhere else, but they picked El Paso.
Yes. Yeah, no, I'm glad to see the city thrive like that because like that's one of my biggest motivations with the entertainment side. to bring things that we normally would have to travel somewhere else, because
Yeah.
now we're actually getting people to traveling
That come
here.
to us. Yes.
Yes, correct. Because I mean, a lot of the people that show up, like I was actually on my way to Phoenix, driving out to Phoenix that weekend, and I would actually see cars, you know, like on the way to El Paso with like, you know, other states, you know, license plates. But then like these guys are crazy. Like the BTS fans are freaking crazy. Like
The BTS army is not to mess
Yes.
with. You're not to mess with them,
like
man.
their vehicles, like their cars, I can tell because the cars
Yeah.
were like wrapped and like they had like this big like bumper stickers, and like I was like, okay, that guy's gonna go see BTS.
Yeah, and honestly, when I was in line, I didn't the interactions that I had while I was waiting in line, nobody was from El Paso around me.
Yeah.
Everybody was traveling from somewhere.
Yeah, we don't
And-
get that many people at our events. out
Yeah.
here. Yes.
So yeah, the BTS army is they're different, you know. Like I used to think that the Beehive was something else with Beyonce crew,
Yeah.
but the BTS they're very dedicated and loyal,
Yes.
and they do look out for them. But it was a great concert, and I'm excited for the next, and I hope people, you know, they take it this opportunity to be like, okay, now we're gonna be prepared for the next.
Yes.
You know, the local businesses, the hotels, everything. So that's what I'm looking forward to. The opportunities that we're going to be getting
Absolutely.
as
Yeah.
business owners. And I know, and that is, and then also you're a father. How many
Yes.
children do you have?
I have one son. He's turning 5 in July.
Oh,
And if you look at him, he looks exactly like me. So
yeah.
it's like,
Is he? So how tall are you? You don't mind me
I am
asking.
6'2".
6'2".
I don't know if he's gonna be that tall because
Yeah.
his mom's a little short, but I mean, I'm hoping, you know, like I've read up on it. 'Cause
Yeah, you read.
and like I think as long as you keep them active and you like, I mean, they eat well,
Mm-hmm.
I think like that helps them. And I mean, he has the genes from me, so. But yeah, his mom's a little bit shorter.
So does he? Is he in any sports? Does he participate in?
I've been
MMA?
trying to get him into all kinds of different sports. I think he's gonna be a little bit of a smarter kid than, you know,
Yes.
like athletic. But I'm gonna keep, you know, like I don't want to push anything on him.
Correct.
But I want to make everything available. You know, like we've tried soccer. It was funny because like I became the coach because I really wanted to,
Yeah.
like, you know, like have
spend that quality time with them, but
Yes.
also being able to mentor him
yeah.
and get
And
that.
he ended up like being like most of the games like on you know, like riding on my back. And he didn't want to play. He's like, no, I just want to ride on your back. And like I was like being the, like, you know, the coach, and then sometimes even the ref with him like right on my shoulders. But that, and then we tried jiu-jitsu for a little bit, and then like there will be days where he would show up and like do it like no problem. He did really well, and then there'll be days like he wouldn't get on the mat. So I started getting a little bit busier. So we haven't taken him to jiu-jitsu anymore. But like I definitely want to get him involved in you know, any kind of sports. Primarily, I would love for him to do jiu-jitsu because I feel like that's kind of like why we started the CFC Foundation as well, because I want to kind of like that's where the foundation idea came from, actually. Like I want to make sure that he has access to martial arts, like, you know, the values and the discipline that it gives
Yeah.
you being on this kind of sports, and I want him to have it early on. I found it later in life.
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe he'll take the brains of the operations.
Hopefully.
Yeah, you know, he maybe not be immersed in the sport, but he'll probably have the brains of the operations to do exactly what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you did, you know, you said that you did do it, correct? But you didn't do it like, it wasn't something you did like lifelong.
No,
like,
no,
you
no,
started
no.
off very young and
No, like actually how this all started 3 years ago. I started training with Carlos Pacheco, my co-founder. He was my coach. And like, you know, like with the SIDA project and some of the companies, what I was doing, I was actually sponsoring some of his fighters. And like they would go to Boston, Pennsylvania, Colorado. Albuquerque was the closest. And I was like, why are you guys traveling so far? And then he's like, well, there's really nothing going on
Yeah,
here.
that's correct.
And then LFA, one of the top 10 leagues in the United States and the world, showed up to El Paso. And I was like, hey, like this doesn't seem like too complicated. Like, why don't we do it? And at first he was like, no, like there's a lot of paperwork. I was like, dude, don't worry about paperwork. Can you put fights together? He's like, yeah. So it took me about 6 months to get through them. But then one day, one of his fighters had an event here at Socorro. And we went to this like cantina in Socorro where they hosted this fight. And we got a little drunk. So like this kind of started over like a
Yeah.
drunk talk. And he's telling me like, we can do so much better than this. I was like, yes, I know. Like I've been telling you.
Yeah.
So next Monday I showed up to the gym and I was like, look, this is what I can do. This is what I need you to do. Do you feel like you can do this? And he's like, yeah. And that was November of 2023. July 7th of 2024 was our first event.
Okay.
Everything like transpiraled pretty quickly. Like I really like all we wanted to do was a smaller show out of a winery, La Viña,
Okay. Yeah.
and things didn't work out because they wanted us to end it super early. They wanted to end at 9. They didn't want more than 500 people, and
They had a lot of
that
restrictions and
yes.
regulations,
So
and
we started knocking on doors, and I mean, I can be grateful enough to Speaking Rock because they gave us our first shot. You know, like they uh they encouraged me. I've always been encouraged by kind of like negativity. Like, you know, when somebody tells me, "Oh, like you're not gonna be able to do this," that just fuels me like so
mm-hmm.
much more than anything. And I remember like they were like, "Hey, we're gonna give you a shot, but I honestly don't think you're gonna bring more than 400 people. So when you don't do that, lose my number. Don't ever come back."
Okay.
And I was like, "Okay." So I was shooting for 600, 800. Like, but now it's personal. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like now I'm
You're
gonna
gonna
make
get
sure that
everybody.
like now I'm gonna make sure that I at least double or triple the expectation. So my high hopes were actually 1,000 people for the first event. I was like, well, high hopes we'll hit 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
We actually ended up bringing in 1,400 people that night. And like, you know, mid show, like, you know, the management, like he was already like, "Hey, we like this. Tribal council likes this. Like, we need to meet on Monday so we can book the rest of the year." So I mean, I exceeded my own expectations, you know, at that
Yeah,
time.
that's
But it
good.
was, yeah,
Congratulations.
appreciate it. And then I mean, it just grew from, you know, 1,400, second event 1,800, third event 2,400, fourth event 2,800. October last year, fifth event we had a 3,100, and then this last one, it's getting harder every time because it's like, you
Yeah.
know, you have to, you know, pull a little more people every single time. So but the most recent one, 3,506, was the final head count.
And honestly, the event speaks for itself now at this point, right? So people
Yes.
are going to be more intrigued, and like there's a lot of talent here in El
Mm-hmm.
Paso. And like you mentioned, they have to travel. Whether it's
Yes.
the MMA, boxing, some type of league of that nature, they always have to travel out. And it gets so expensive, you know, and sometimes
Yep.
they still have to hold jobs. But then how do they fit that in with the training, you know, and then the traveling? And I know sponsorships come in, but
Yep.
then people are more likely to sponsor when it's in the
Yep.
hometown than it is out, because then you get your name on a banner or you get your name somewhere, you know, and it's local and people, it's advertisement for
Yeah, no, we're
businesses.
we're fueling up the local economy for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have those fighters that go out of town, and we're pretty much having our talent go out there and,
Mm-hmm.
and influence other communities, like, you know, like economic development and economy. So yeah, that was definitely one of the biggest motivations. You know, like I wanted to give the fighters a platform.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I mean the UFC was founded when I was born, you know, in '93.
Yes.
So I'm not trying to beat the UFC. Like
No,
my
I
goal is to
understand.
be one of their largest feeders, whether it'll be in the Southwest region or nationally, hopefully. You know, but like we have it very clear from the get go that the goal is to be the largest feeder, and we want to be the platform where, like, you know, not only El Paso kids, because like now we've gotten pretty famous, and you know, in Mexico as well, and I mean the surrounding states, you know, Arizona,
Mm-hmm.
New Mexico, like they're a lot of their fighters like much rather come and fight for us than their local leagues.
In Mexico?
New
In
Mexico,
New
New
Mexico?
Mexico,
Okay.
and Arizona.
In
Yeah,
Arizona.
a
Okay.
lot of the guys out there, you know, like they much rather fight over here than their local leagues.
Then their local leagues.
Yes.
And then so when you guys go based off of that, do you guys usually have like, do you guys have to look for the fighters, or fighters already now looking for you to try to get booked?
It used to be where like Carlos had to go, so he handles the fighter first side. But I mean, I get some visibility sometimes. But yeah, like first he was reaching out. Like now, especially after an event or like during the events, we get all this like, you know, inbound. We have a lot of people that reach out and they're like, "Hey, how do I fight?" If you're asking that question, like you first of all, like my immediate answer, we have it on copy paste now. It's like, well, a fighter typically does not book his own fights. You know, you need a
Mm-hmm.
coach or a management, and have them reach out. You know, but for those that are actually, you know, like already have a management
Yeah,
team
well
or like, you know,
established. It's been kind of fighting for a couple of years now.
exactly, like those guys, like they reach out right away. Like, and we've gotten some crazy, you know, like guys from Miami, from, you know, like from the East Coast, Northeast Coast. Like it's, and that's very flattering to see that our content,
Is
our
reaching
platform
over
is
there.
reaching that far, and that they're interested on fighting for us. Because I one thing that I just thought it was normal practice for everything else that I've done in my entire like entrepreneurship, you know, career, was to treat my suppliers, customers, like normal
Yes.
human beings, right? So like we properly hosted them, and like to them it was like, like fighters were amazed of the fact that we had a fruit bar, we had protein bars, drinks, and everything set up for them. And like my partner Carlos, he's a pro fighter as well. And he like everybody was recording that and like uploading it, like, oh, like this is the way like all leagues should be treating us. And I was like, wow, like is that not what
Yeah.
happens in other
Yeah,
places?
like you just thought something like a simple gesture,
Yeah.
but turned out to be a grand gesture for
Yeah.
these fighters because it's something that they don't get all the time.
Yeah, and Carlos gave me the feedback. He's like, you would be surprised at some big places I've warmed up in back alleys. Whereas over here, like I have them, like for me, they're the stars of the show.
Yeah.
So like I set it up, accordingly, where like they have like, a nice dress,
Yeah.
like dressing room and everything. So I think it boils down to the details, and like we've never like gone cheap on the production and anything that we do. We like to like, like set the bar high every single time.
Yeah, because it's a huge investment, right? You're investing
It
in
is.
this and you're going to invest it the right way. And then when it comes to production, that's one thing you don't want to, cut the corners on or kind of be the
Yeah.
lowest of the budget.
Yeah. I mean, and it takes a
Yeah.
lot of negotiation, like I mean, I got to go out and shop deals, but at the end of the day, we've always made it a point to every single show make it like a little bit better. And we like this one, this one was a huge jump. I mean, we had a fan fest where we had like a mechanical bull. We had the Air Force bring out, like a RoboDog EOD bomb tech suit. We had our auxiliary cage out there for people to take pictures. We had 3 semis from like another sponsor, Western Tech, and First Life Federal Credit Union were out there. We had a big screen out there, like, pretty
Okay.
much showcasing everything
Yes.
else happening. That was just a fan fest. Like that alone, like those 2 hours of like upwards of 1,000 people showing up, like that was just the beginning. Then we have an oath of enlistment ceremony for like about 150 kids from the Air Force, like joined the military. Then we had the first 4 fights. Then we have Suchito help us with a sushi eating contest, which was a fan favorite. They loved
Yeah.
it. We have the main event, and then we had a 3 banda concert like right out there, like 3 local bandas, like like for Mexican music. So it was like a whole experience. It was, I mean, it started at 5 and ended at 2 a.m. So yeah, we don't go cheap. And like honestly, when we finished this one, I was like, all right, now it's gonna be really tough to top this one up. But,
and so when are you looking at for the next event? How
It's
long
already-
does it how long does it take to even plan an event like something like this?
we used to do 90-day cycles. Now we've gone into kind of like 60-day cycles. That was a huge reason why we moved into the Coliseum, because we used to have a long break when we were outdoors. We would break from October all the way to April, so it was almost half of the year we were just twiddling our fingers like, hey, what's next? So now we made it a point to have an event every 2 months, no more than 2.5 months. So yeah, we just had the event, and we're already, as
You're
of today,
ready.
we're like 59 days out for the next one. So yeah, we've kind of gone from a 90-day cycle of planning and announcing to like a 60-day. So like now every 60 days you should be hearing about the next event. And I mean, we already announced the next one
Yes.
at the end of our last event. And,
Okay.
and I'm very proud of that one, because we're actually bringing out of retirement a former UFC, Bellator, and Risen fighter, Anthony Burchak. He's actually our commentator. He joined us on the third event because he actually brought his team out to fight. So we got some of his fighters out of Tucson, and he was so impressed with everything that we were doing that he's like, hey, I wanna be part of it. Like he's like, I would like to be the announcer. I think he was gonna be commentator at first, but then like he became the announcer. He had a pretty good energy. So like now we heard that he had plans, to like do one more fight. I was like, oh, like yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, did
Let's
you
do
ever
it.
expect that?
Not really. Carlos had been trying to make that fight a long time ago. Not necessarily with the guy that he's fighting now,
Yes.
but we were trying to pretty much like bring another UFC fighter out of retirement, and we really wanted to make that fight. Which I mean, who knows? We might make it in the future.
You still have how many days left?
Well, like that one is already set for him, but like in the
Yeah.
future, I'm hoping that we can get that fight that Carlos has been having in the back of his mind forever. But yeah, like it's a huge thing. We're bringing bigger and bigger names, like other than Anthony Burchak, former UFC fighter, being our main card or our main event. Another 6 fights very easily could have been our main event for any of our other shows. Like we have Jeremy Alba, who we actually had to get a special permission from Fury FC because he's under contract over there, so he can fight for us like one time. So just I'm glad that Carlos has been pretty savvy, navigating his way into like the martial arts world to be able to have those good relationships out there.
Yeah, because he was your coach, right? So that's how you guys got together. And how long has he been in the MMA world?
Oh, I think ever since he was like 18 or 19. So yeah, 19. I think he's like 16 years into this. I mean, he owns one of the most prominent gyms. I would say like he probably manages, coaches, and oversees like I would say at least 50% of the fighters out of the city. And I mean, he's fought himself. He's trained. Like he's really passionate about what he does. And I think that's why I think he's just obsessed with the sport. And I also became obsessed with it. So I think that, like that's the perfect combination. I actually posted something on Instagram recently about like saying that we don't need a big team. We just need 3 people that are like obsessed
with it, and then just to make it happen.
Yes.
No, that's really good. And I also know that when it comes to, so you guys have the CFC, but then it also branched out a program that you have for children.
Correct.
Can you tell us a little bit more? Like, how did that get started? Like, what made you kind of?
So yeah, taking my son to jiu-jitsu, like I was one of the few, brown skin people out there, and it's expensive. Like looking at the people around me, and I was like, there's very few people that look like me, So I'm like, I want to make it attainable for every kid, because it was really important for my son to do it because I knew all of the benefits that he can get out of it. I'm not talking about fighting. I'm not talking about I'm talking about all the core values that he can get out of it. That self-esteem that is going to turn him into a champion in the community. And that's our goal at CFC Foundation. We want to create champions in the community. We're not trying to breed fighters. What we're trying to do is like make sure that this kid that might go the route of being bullied and being like not self-confident and not become a leader, we can change that early on. So unfortunately, I don't have that statistic per se, but like I can probably assure you that at least 75% of the kids in El Paso cannot afford $100 a month for a gym.
Yeah. And then sometimes it's they had to buy equipment too. Sometimes, it's not just the membership, the tournaments, everything. So it gets pretty pricey and it starts adding up real quick.
So yeah, that was my motivation there. And I'm lucky to have, like an amazing team. Marco Vallejo, who's our partner relations guy on the league. He's also the executive director on the foundation. We started this earlier this year, and we're fundraising so we can put kids through programs like that. And on top of just like training, we actually want to have some of our fighters mentor them. That'll probably be for like the older kids, like once they're in their teens, have them, like have some sort of mentorship with them. And not only fighters, we can do like business owners. We can do like, I mean, I would have been getting involved, like, if we see it fit.
And so for like, for parents, how can they find you?
So social media right now is big. LinkedIn, it's also like, the way to go for it. Both, the CFC and CFC Foundation have their own like independent social medias and websites. CFCshow.com. It's our website.
And then you guys also have a day too dedicated to you guys with CFC.
February 3rd. Yeah. So we were lucky enough, and I gotta shout out Joseph Sapien, who for a little bit helped me on the early stages of the CFC Foundation. He helped me put in this proclamation request with the city, and we were blessed enough to get it granted. Like that was proclaimed a CFC day and the impact that it brings to the community. And like I had an amazing opportunity to talk to or present to the mayor and the council like about the impact that we've done, whether it'll be for like economic development, quality of life, and the different things that we bring to the table as a organization for the city.
And then the day is February the 3rd.
February 3rd. Yes.
February 3rd. Well, congratulations, Roland. And if people missed out on this event on the 24th, I'm pretty sure they're not going to miss out again. So where can people purchase tickets for this next event?
We should be releasing them soon. Ticketmaster. You can either go to our socials. You'll always find the link tree or the on the bio. There'll be different links for either the most like the coming up event or any activations that we have going on with either our sponsors or our own organization. The CFCshow.com, you can find them there. If you go into the Coliseums, like we were gonna pop up in there, but again, like those should be released sometime this week.
Okay, great. So, and this is perfect timing then.
Yes, yes, perfect.
No, well, congratulations on everything that you've been doing. And I'm excited to see what CFC is going to be doing to the community here in El Paso. And and I'm looking forward to when it gets bigger.
Yes, no, no,
You know,
absolutely.
thank you so
I
much.
hope you can make it out. I know your husband made it out there, but I
Yes.
can't wait for you to go check it out yourself.
Yes.
Bring the kids. As I was telling you, it's a
Yes.
very like family oriented, like thing. The outside, like that was kind of like the most, the most of the people out there were families with all the bouncy castle and all that good stuff. But yeah, I hope that you can make it out, and I really appreciate you giving us the space to talk about what we do.
Of course,
What you're doing,
anytime.
it's also good for the
No,
community.
thank you. Thank you so much. And so everybody go out there and buy some tickets for your next event for the CFC. Don't miss out. It sounds to be really good. And is there anything you would like to say to the camera?
Just support local guys, and but let's not think local though. Like I feel like where we've gone right is that we don't have a small town mentality, because this is not a small town at all. And the fact that we've been thinking and trying to bring the quality that other bigger cities have, I think that's been our success. So support what we're doing here, but also if
Mm-hmm.
you have any idea on mind, whether it'll be your next step in life, or if you're trying to start a business, think big and just slowly move forward and don't stop.
Thank you so much, Roland. And thank you guys for watching us at Borderland Bosses. And stay tuned for our next episode that's coming up. We're going to have a local artist that's been around for several years, and we're excited to bring her on. Thank you so much. Have a great day.